I'm negotiating. Dan Lothian, thank you. I want to continue the conversation on fiscal cliff. And this one Republican really has been making some news with this, we'll call it an outside-the-box idea to avoid at least part of this fiscal cliff. He is suggesting extend the Bush tax cuts for the 98% of Americans right now, since at least both sides agree that that has to happen, and then haggle over the top 2% later.
And the Republican in the middle of this all is Congressman Tom Cole from Oklahoma. Congressman Cole, already Speaker Boehner and others have thrown cold water on this idea. But let's just clear this up right now. You still stand by this notion? Pass the tax cuts for the 98% right now. Deal with the 2% after the new year, but essentially let those tax breaks for the top 2% expire. You're still in favor of that?
Oh, look, I don't want tax rates going up for anybody. I've never been in favor of that, and I don't think we should, quote, let them expire and then negotiate later. I do think where we agree on 98%, we should take that off the table so Americans don't have to worry about that. I think that actually strengthens our position. But look, at the end of the day, this is a discussion amongst Republicans over tactic. It's not a division or a debate. And the president would be well advised, if he's serious, to actually bring spending cuts and entitlement reform to the table. We haven't heard much of that, so I think that's really what's sparking Republican resistance.
But it is a difference in tactics, and some of your colleagues, including Speaker Boehner, have disagreed with your proposal. Let's listen to what they've said.
Well, I told Tom earlier in our conference meeting that I disagreed with him. He's a wonderful friend of mine and a great supporter of mine. But raising taxes on the so-called top 2%, half of those taxpayers are small business owners that pay their taxes through their personal income. It's why this is not the right approach. We're willing to put revenue on the table as long as we're not raising rates.
I think he's wrong, and I think most of the conference thinks that he's wrong. I think he's a good man who's served here for a long time, but he's also a man who has voted for a lot of the increased spending in Washington, D.C., and that's the problem. We have a lot of Republicans who are, catching their hair on fire right now, but they're the ones who were here for 10 or 20 years, causing all the problems that we're now facing.
It's kind of stinging criticism there from Representative Labrador. Does it make you regret getting in the middle of this debate?
I love Raul. He's a great guy. But in this case, honestly, he is new here, and he doesn't know what he's talking about in terms of my record on spending and taxes. So we can have that discussion later. But look, he's a terrific member.
He doesn't know what he's talking about, according to you.
Yeah, he doesn't on this case. Look, I'd never say anything disparaging about him or about the Speaker, who, by the way, I agree with. I think the Speaker's doing a great job. I think at the end of the day, he'll negotiate a tough deal. Every time he's done that, I've been there and voted for that and tried to persuade others. I haven't seen the deal yet, but I suspect I'll be there again.
Well, Congressman, we're hearing what your friends, but those who maybe disagree with you here on this within your own party are saying. What about the Democrats? Because they are certainly seizing on your comments. Senator Patty Murray gave you a little shout out yesterday morning. Here she was.
I applaud Representative Cole for that common sense and brave position. I'm hopeful that he can persuade other Republicans to do the right thing.
So being a hero, among Democrats?
I've never had so many nice things said about me by people that I don't agree with on anything. And look, I respect Senator Murray, but she's one out there arguing to go over the physical cliff. She thinks that'd be a good idea. That's a crazy idea. And with all due respect, I'm not sure she really wants my idea accepted because she's argued for the opposite position. At the end of the day, we need to sit down. The president needs to put real spending cuts, real entitlement reforms on the table. The Speaker has said, look, revenue is on the table. I just personally think we ought to take Americans, and most of them, out of this so they don't have to worry about it. I think over the course of the argument, they'll be on our side in the debate. But again, that's a tactical difference. At the end of the day, Republicans are very united with the Speaker.
Hey, Congressman, this is Will Cain. Let me just ask you real quick. From what I can read, hearing you right now and hearing those clips of other Republicans, as you said, there's no difference in the end goal. You want low taxes, you want spending reform, you want entitlement reform. It's a question over tactics, but I really think your idea is curious because it seems to me, let's give the Democrats everything they want and then hope they come back in good faith later to negotiate on the things that we want.
No,
Doesn't that kind of seem what you're asking for?
No, I would disagree with you 100% on that. First of all, we have lots of leverage in this negotiation. Nobody wants the spending cuts, particularly Democrats on the domestic side, to go place. This doesn't deal with that. We still have plenty of leverage in the negotiation. I actually think the American people, number one, should never be used as leverage in a negotiation. But number two, if they are leverage, it's Democratic leverage in this case, not not Republicans. It's the president, it's the Democrats that are making the point your taxes are all going to rise in 30 days. So I don't see this as, quote, our leverage in this discussion. And why not just do the right thing? We know at the end of the day, neither side wants to raise taxes on the average American. Let's just do that now and continue our discussion and debate. But there's plenty of leverage on our side in terms of the spending.
Congressman Ryan Lizza, one question about this. How many of your Republican colleagues do you think actually agree with you on this, but just aren't coming forward and saying it publicly?
I have some agree, some don't. That's fine.
But put a number on it. I mean, are we talking dozens?
No, I'm not going to put a number on it. I don't know. I don't.
All right, well, then name some of them.
People. Why would I dime out my friends?
That's such a great point. Listen, can I just say, this is a very serious proposal, which I think deserves a lot of attention.
Another new Democratic
but here, Congressman, I applaud you for really trying to do something serious here. And I think, we're beginning to see that people are going to take a different approach to this, and that it may be a new day. And I applaud you for trying to do something serious.
Stop applauding him. He wants people like me to start applauding him.
Why don't you join me? Okay, you have a moment here where you can join me.
Guys, let's let the Congressman quit while he's ahead with that praise from Richard Socarides here. Congressman Tom Cole, great to see you this morning. Thanks for being with us.
Just quickly, Liz, that's a great point. That it's one thing what all these men and women are saying on